Episode 1 Pod Racer. That is Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, starring Anakin Skywalker. Or me, because I don't play as Anakin, I play as some guy who has a way nicer car than Anakin. Anakin's car is a joke. It's got those little jet engines on it. I mean, it's got pretty good air brakes, I'll give it that. But we do need to get like a thumbnail image for the stream, and I don't really have anything for gaming at the moment. Like, maybe I'll just pick the Super Mario one. I don't know. Like, I really need to make a Star Wars. You know what? We're gonna do the space one because I forgot. I got my telescope rigged up right now. So, let's get the telescope fired up first, and then we're gonna engage in pod racing. So that is my plan. And I'm sticking to it. And then hopefully I'll wrap this up by around 8, because I want to let people know that Echo Base Network is going live, and they're very nice people, so I don't want to cannibalize their viewership. What up, Orville Nation? Good to see you. Just firing it up, getting some things up on screen, and it looks like we already got the chat ready. We're going to jump right into Pod Racer. Right after I fire up my telescope, which I'm going to do right now. I'm trying to figure out if there's a delay. I think there's a slight delay. I'll switch my HDMI input when I'm ready to play video games. Yeah, so I mean, like the other night when I did pod racing, a friend, a member, a moderator of this channel, he gave me some pro tips, and it helped. It helped me excel. No, we're not running updates right now or any time of this next 3 days Windows. So get that through your head. I want to make sure Windows knows that I don't want to see a dawned update happen until at least like after Wednesday. So okay, there we go. So I just did some work on the camera, and unfortunately nothing changes. But I wanted to oh man, did I plug the camera in? The filter, see, okay. I'm not getting up if I have to get up. We're gonna go straight to pod racer. I can always fix the telescope in a half hour. Okay, good, it didn't give me an error. Phew, that's close. So we got the star known as Vega up on screen right now. And at the time I was last looking at this, I was actually dialing in the focuser, but I decided to do some tweaking because I wanted to move the camera closer, or I wanted to move the camera, extend the camera further away from the body of the telescope so that the focusing mechanism would only have to move out a little bit. So we just gotta dial out. I'm gonna jump right into pod racing in 2 minutes. We're just dialing in the motorized focus right now. Alright, that should be... Oh, I had it on 5 millisecond exposure. Well, we're not going to see anything on that setting. So we'll crank it up to a little bit longer. That looks like a pretty round star. It is jumping around a bit, but I think as the temperature drops, it'll be fine. So we do have to crank the offset up to 30. We need to put this up to a 1700. Then we need to crank up the exposure time to something more like... we'll start with 15 seconds. And we got to tell the camera we want it in 16-bit color mode. And then we can get to pod racing. We're going to pick a target. I think we're going to start with maybe a simple star. Oh, we got a lot of stuff in the galaxy. Oh, and I fixed my mouse. I can scroll now. So I should do a video on that, or at least tell people what video I got the information from. But yeah, I fixed my mouse so I can actually aim it I can zoom in and stuff, and it doesn't get all janky on me anymore. It's wonderful. So maybe we do North America Nebula, or we do the Veil Nebula if that's in a good spot, because right now we're getting a little close to the meridian. All right, I think we could do East Veil. We have intermittent clouds tonight. Let's get the telescope aiming at target right now. Good thing is we got the entire body of the Milky Way. A lot of that's passing the meridian right now. That's gonna make my job easier later on. I mean, it's not gonna be a late night, but you know, it's a school night for me. But you know, we got this. See, when you move the telescope, the stars will streak with the mechanism. And I'll show off a Gundam model later, but it's not a priority item. Like, if I miss the opportunity to show off my Gundam model, it's not a big deal. I'm supposed to have a bottle opener in my desk. I have a USB flash drive that doubles as a bottle opener. It's really cool, but it's not really showing up on my desk right now, so I'll sort that out later. I'll use a pair of pliers. Let's get to priority 1. Priority 2, actually, but same thing anyway. Priority 1 is getting in that pod racer. Priority 2 is getting the telescope aimed at good targets. So we got the camera is going to begin looping on my mark. There we go. Camera is looping, and assuming that the motorized mechanisms have settled down, we can get a good target lock. And maybe in the next picture, what's today's date? 21. And this is not the correct name of the target, but that's okay. We're going to let it be because I don't have time to rename it. And, you know, it's not the best picture, but I think it'll be good enough for the plate solving to identify where the telescope is aimed. And then we can move on to auto guiding and just leave it. Just let it fire off some exposures, pictures, taking some snapshots. So we're doing the East Veil Nebula. It's this filamentary looking thing right here. It just about fits in the camera frame. We're currently on the red filter, which actually should be pretty favorable for what I'm trying to do. And looks like the stars are basically centered. So we're going to activate the auto guiding as soon as the plate solving gets us a clean target lock. So we already got the auto guiding ready to start. We're just waiting for this guy, but in the meantime, I can actually move this to my other screen, and that should allow me to continue to do what I'm trying to do. So let's do that. Let's do that because we want to get to pod racing now. You know what I mean? We got Orville Nation visited the chat. He might even still be here. We want to give our viewers what we advertised, and I advertised that I would be playing Pod Racer, just like our friend Pod Racing Palpatine. Hey, what up, J.L.M? Good evening from Michigan. Well, good evening from New York City, and by New York City I just mean the borough of Staten Island. I mean, technically I'm in New York City, okay? A borough is part of the city, okay? So there's only one downside to how I'm playing Pod Racer today, and I'm just gonna have to live with it. I don't know where my Switch Pro controller is. And I'm not going to spend time looking for it because I know I'll be here all day finding something that I can't find. So we're just going to jump into this, you know. Of course, now the controller has to connect. There we go. Okay, good. So, you know, we got the telescope being readied for doing what we do with the telescope, which is, you know, astronomy, which rhymes with pastrami. Yeah, astronomy rhymes with pastrami. Think about that. And the plate solving, did it finish yet? Because we need to, oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Good. Synchronization, done. Now the reticle is off center, so now we're going to recenter it. Do I have to run the plate solving again? It helps, but we're going to just take our chances. So this is going to be the East Veil Nebula. So we're just going to put that in here. East Veil Nebula. We're going to then tell the camera to do what? Maybe a 2-minute exposure? Maybe we do it 1/82nd. Let's be adventurous. Why don't we? generally, what I just did was I opened myself up to being, put through the ringer with a bit more light pollution. But I'm willing to take, oh, bummer. The camera lied to me. It was on the luminance filter. It wasn't on the red filter. What a pain in my butt. You know what? We're going to just do hydrogen and let it rip because I trust the hydrogen filter, especially with intermittent clouds tonight. Plus, sunset was a little recent. So let's do that. Okay, so we're going to switch to hydrogen. Then we're going to tell the camera, as soon as it switches to hydrogen, that we want to do a short exposure. We need to see the stars in order to, make sure we're in focus, because we're not in focus. And then the next picture, I can't see anything. Hey, what up, Brandon, Looney Tunes fan 2000? Good to see you, bud. I hope all is well. I was actually mentioning you today because we were talking about DVD menus, and I was mentioning how, when you did the Simpsons Easter eggs, and I thought it was like super cool. Yeah, so like on DVDs, they got these hidden menu items sometimes, and you can find like stuff in them. It's kind of cool, And Brandon did like a little series of those types of videos. Do you watch Anton Petrov? He does some astronomy videos from time to time. Yeah, I watched him a few times. He's all right. Sometimes I get a little bored, but he's good. He's a good guy. He does those videos called What the Math? And, he's like just a friendly Russian guy living in Korea, as I understand it. And, he kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say inspired me to copy his idea of doing videos. If you ever see my videos where I'm playing with open space, that's basically because of Anton's content. Except I don't do any of that OP stuff where like I say, hey, let's see a planet get hit by a penny at the speed of light. I don't go that far, but it's pretty cool anyway. So we got these blurry stars here, and I just want to make sure they're in focus. So we're gonna put them out of focus on purpose. And then we're gonna put that thing back into focus. So hopefully we can do this without overshooting the mark, because I really don't want to have to do retry attempts, okay? Like, we want this now, okay? It's like the Queen song, I want it now. Or some shit like that. I want it now. I want it, wow. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to play WoW at all. I hope the friend gets started on YouTube. He hasn't hit me up in a minute, but I got to check up on him, and his hard drive space was somehow maxed out, and I think it's because his wife downloaded a shit ton of games, and I'm not even sure how it happened. Like, I know my video settings in OBS are actually pretty inefficient, but I was still surprised how quickly he maxed out, and maybe it's because I take for granted having, like, multiple terabytes. Oh, come on, did I go out of focus already? I didn't mean to do that. Oh, now I gotta go back out. Then we gotta back it in. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi. And do astronomy while eating pastrami. Worst ways to spend one's time. I like his greeting. Hello, wonderful people. I don't do a good Russian accent right now. Hello, wonderful people. But it's true. It is very nice. And Brandon Looney Tunes fan has made a new lap record as a Star Wars Episode 1 pod racer reference. He has achieved the milestone of 2,267 subscribers. That means his internet clout is now at least 12 times more than what I have on the internet. Because, I'm doing this for clout. I'm not here to make friends. I'm just doing it for internet clout, I want to be like Mr. Beast or some shit. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I remember this guy at work. So, nice guy. Really nice guy, And he's like asking me for advice on YouTube. So I say, yeah, I'll tell you, what I can tell you. I'll share what I can. And mostly his problem is coming up with something to talk about. So it's like he wants to be a YouTuber, but he doesn't have anything to talk about. So I told him, just keep rolling with it. Roll the tape. Record videos just to get comfortable talking to a camera for now. But yeah, that's going to be a key part is, coming up with what is my shtick, like PJ does Orville Nation, and he also interviews people on other topics, you know. I do this stuff. Actually, I don't even know what I do. As you know, it's a running joke. Like, it was a running joke as of like 2 weeks ago when Troy Picholi showed up and he's like, oh yeah, we went to this guy's stream and he's building Gundam models, but he's doing the astronomy thing. But then he also talks about fucking January 6th or some shit. I forgot what it was, but it was pretty funny, like the way that someone made like a little blurb reviewing my channel. So I don't know if this is out of focus, but the way I see it, the telescope's gonna have to cool down anyway, right? So by the time the telescope cools down, it'll shrink, and it'll be in, if it's not in focus now, it'll be in focus by the time it shrinks. Wait, that might not compute. I'm just gonna take my chances. All right, we're just gonna take our chances right now. We'll just see how it works out, right? Let's just go and play pod racer here. That's what I'm here for. So turn on the Nintendo Switcherino. Switch my input on my monitor because that's how I can be 100% sure that I'm, you know, playing in real time. And we'll work on my Gundam model later, maybe not on stream. So yeah, here we go. Oh, I don't have audio because I have to go to the sound mixer and listen, and then I gotta adjust the volume for you guys. No, I'm kidding, but that's okay. That's the least of my worries. Same routine as last time. Let me know. Oh good, we can test the audio right now. Let me know if it's too loud. I can hear the audio quite fine, but I need to know that. I had an interesting insight today. Acting ethically may put a person at a serious handicap. Yeah, I knew that was the song title. I Want It All. That is the song title confirmed by J.L.M. I have no clout at all. Oh, that's not true. You have a wrench. You got more clout than you are aware of right now. You basically get to ride on the coattails of my clout. I get more internet clout, you get more internet clout. You know, I mean, whether I truly am seeking clout or just joking about that, you'll get more clout. So I can't find my flash drive bottle opener right now. It might be on my desk, but I don't want to really dig. So we're going to use a pair of pliers because it scares the shit out of me to use a Bic lighter to open a bottle. So let me know if you can hear me or not, so I can adjust the audio accordingly. Oh, that wasn't bad. That actually opened cleanly. It's not a beer. It's a Manhattan Special. So how's the audio? We're good. Let me know if you want the game to be louder. So, like I said, I have a handicap. I'm going to be playing this with the Joy-Cons, and I'm not even, I didn't even put them inside the holder. So, I mean, that's okay, because I kind of like trying it out like this once in a while for fun. Yeah, well, get my ass handed to me in an invitational. Yeah, see, I already feel like it's kind of janky, but we're going to roll with it. But it's true that, acting ethically may put a person at a handicap, and that applies in a lot of different ways. I mean, look, working in sales, if you ever worked in sales, you know, the guy who works slightly less ethically is going to be a better sales guy. I mean, you sell a lot more warranties if you tell the customer what they want to hear. People are more likely to apply for a credit card if you tell them that a credit check doesn't affect their credit score. It might not be true. My coworker, he always used to say this bullshit. He used to say, oh yeah, it doesn't affect your credit rating. It's a soft credit check. It's like, a what? A soft credit check? I'm pretty sure he was just making that up. My brother got me a Gerber dime. Oh. A Gerber dime. That sounds familiar. Oh, the multi-tool. Some years ago. It's like 50% scale Leatherman. I like it. It has a bottle opener. Interesting. My friend gave me, my coworker gave me a tool the other day. It was a strap-on. No, I'm kidding. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I got my mind in the gutter. I mean, if I don't finish my Gundam tonight, I'm bringing that shit to work. I'll work on it during my downtime. So my coworker gave me this. He told me that it needs like a lot of love. Well, maybe not love, but it's got like let me just adjust some things here. Oh, come on, Windows, you suck. Sorry, I dragged my thing to the side and it did this thing. Anyway. So it's just some, I think he got it on Temu. But it wasn't the worst, like, shitty multi-tool I've ever seen. But, like, some of the blades on this are, like, hilarious. So the saw, it might cut through a tree, but probably could use a little more sharpening. This knife here is the best. This knife is the best part of the thing, the whole shebang. So, notice I'm putting my finger on the blade. Okay, wait till you see this blade here. Look at that blade. Like, does that even look like it's remotely sharp? It's not. I can assure you it's not. I'll hold it up like this. Like, it's got like a round edge on it. How funny is that blade right there? So, yeah, that blade's gonna need a little love right there. This blade's actually sharp. This is actually a real, like a semi-real knife edge. You can see I've already used it on something. I forgot what I used it on, but this blade has a little bit of a bite. Like, it's not great, but yeah, anyway, I'm not trying to get us distracted, but I just wanted to show you that because, like, you know, and real quick while I have this open, I lost the little red piece that goes on the top of the head, so if I don't find it, I already ordered a second kit because it was cheaper to get a second kit than it was to go through official channels to get a different part. 120 volt what? What were we talking about? 120 volt or 240 volt? I'm an American, but I forget what is that in reference to? I'm lost. The Gundam uses Japanese electricity. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, like me, I looked into multi-tools like the Gerber and alike, and I want to do a little more research, a lot more research. But what do I carry? Like I said, I have a flash drive with a bottle opener. Sometimes I carry it and sometimes I don't, because I haven't needed to use a flash drive in a hot minute. So the audio is actually good, huh? Yeah, I think I can get used to this, but it is a little tricky to drive this way after being good at the other way. Yeah, I definitely like the range of motion on the Pro controller a lot more. This is not horrible. It's just I like the other one more now that I'm used to it. Woohoo! That was close. Like, one thing I find hard is hitting the repair button on this controller, because like normally I would use my middle finger to like hold the gas, but that doesn't feel natural. Oh, I got lucky there. What? I even used the brakes. You saw that? I carried it down all the time. Oh yeah, you were joking. Okay. See, look, I'm reading your messages. It's your fault. Nah, I'm kidding. I appreciate your company and your messages. I'm pulling your leg. Oh no. There we go. Gas, 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 gas. I'm gonna hit it. Oh, thank God. Get out of my way, you mother. I mean, I kind of like that guy's car too. His engines are ugly, but they feel like they could do a lot of horsepower. Yeah, like the way I'm holding the controller right now, I felt like I was going to get carpal tunnel. I'm switching. You know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to just not use the repair button. That's how I'm going to prevent carpal tunnel. So I think I know why people have trouble with the Joy-Con, like the stock Joy-Cons. They say that like, they'll get Joy-Con drift, and I think part of it is like, you know, when you're doing something and you're trying to press like right or up like I'm doing right now, and you'll press it as hard as you can out of reflex if you're not cognizant of what you're doing. And I think a lot of people, oh come on, shit, come on, I didn't know the engine was gonna go out for that long for repairs. All right, that's okay. One thing I hate about these new controllers is that Sony had these things called analog buttons, and it seems that nobody had any interest in like replicating that ever since the PlayStation 2. Analog buttons actually had like variable sensitivity, and even worse, Nintendo Switch has no analog buttons at all, so none of the buttons can do variable pressure. Every button is either on or off. There's no like middle ground, not even the triggers. And it's like, oh, I'm sure Nintendo's perfectly happy saving 5 cents on every controller that way. I've never been in the left doorway. I have no idea what's on the left side. I just know that this way I don't have to hit those sliding doors. God, this is like carpal tunnel right here. Like, I'm gonna lose a finger after this game. Oh, my telescope is beeping at me. Whew. Man, it's a rush right here, let me tell you. It's the kind of rush that doesn't piss me off, you know what I mean? Oh boy. Alright, put out the fire. You know what? We don't have time to repair our engines. Oh, I gotta reorient. Oof. Yeah, I better find that Pro Controller if I'm gonna keep doing this. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing now, but my God. Oh, I get it. Is it 120 or 240 volt? That's what you meant about my strap joke, huh? Oh, when did I lower the audio? I'm sorry about that. I don't know how long I've been muted, but I guess I'll get back to J.L.M's point. Notice we have records from antiquity about loads of people. Very few satirists or whatever from the past. Not until audio and then movies does comedy really take off as an art form. And my response to that was that... Wait, is my screen clear right now? Oh, clever screen name. What is my screen name? Does it say Mrs. Flu right now or DJ Ronnie G? Which screen name are we talking about? Because... Oh, Arkansas. Yeah, that is I agree. That is a clever screen name. That is a very clever screen name. John, I was just thinking about you. I was literally talking about you while I was on mute. like, like, I was like literally on mute just now, and I mentioned about you because I see Arkansas. I was like, oh, Arkansas. Oh, yeah, I met you on Tron's channel. And then, like, I was going to mention about how I wanted to message you about a collab, an idea for collaboration similar to the idea we were discussing back in August. And then I realized I was on mute and I had to unmute my audio. So that's where I'm at. So we are playing episode 1 Pod Racer, and thanks to J.L.M, the gentleman in the chat here, I was able to go to the pit droids and get like the best upgrades. Well, not the best, you know what I mean? Like I was able to do things correctly and it worked. But real quick, I was just checking on my telescope, getting the thing, you know, locked onto a target because the weather is permitting us to do that. And then hopefully I'll end this in a timely manner because I'm not trying to take viewership away from EBN. I think they're already on, or they're doing their pregame show probably, or something like that. So, you know, definitely check out Echo Base Network, anybody in the chat, if that's your thing. Or watch me and at the same time, you know, open up 2 tabs, you know. So, yeah. Okay, good. We got the telescope locking targets. Let's get back. So, do I want to find this gamepad? I mean, I do, but let's be real here. I'm not going to find it. I'm going to go and just, like, reach under my desk. Sometimes you put your hand under your desk and you find things that you didn't know were under your desk. Yeah, ow, ow, ow. Yeah, it's not under my desk. Okay. Thing is, some boiled bean water is in order. What the hell is that? I built part of my Gundam model. I'm very happy with this. Is it in focus? Yeah, there we go. So I lost the red piece that goes over here. But everything else is good. Right, now we can do this. But it is wonderful to see the legendary Tron up in the chat today. Or in this fine evening. And so one of the things I said on mute. Well, hell, I said a lot of things while I was on mute, so we're not going to catch up on all of that right now. We're going to just get back to pod racing there. Yeah, and J.L.M, he has a channel. I would recommend, I would humbly request and recommend that you subscribe to his channel if you like Star Wars or people named Tron. And there's no reason not to like people named Tron, so that should solve the problem right there. Now, if his name was MCP, Master Control Program, that might be another story. You know, the MCP is a little evil, right? You know, so there's that. So this is interesting. So I didn't realize this, but the Eastern Veil Nebula is this area here. And then this is called the Network Nebula. So, I mean, if anything, I would love to get a picture like this. But I'm already aiming at this target. So, I mean, now, you know what? Let's see if we can do something better. Like, does that star have a name? No, it does not. I feel like I'd rather get like this in the center, like this, kind of. We'll stick with what we're used to doing. Coffee is boiled bean water. Oh, God. That does sound disgusting, Arkansas. But I guess that you mentioned it. Yeah, technically it is boiled bean water. That puts a nice mental image in my head. Thanks. Thanks for making coffee seem like so appetizing. But jokes aside, I used to hate on coffee, but then I found out it was better to drink coffee than energy drinks, so I made the switch. I don't drink, like, I love in movies or when you hear stories and someone's like on their 5th cup of coffee. I couldn't imagine being on 5 cups of coffee, not because I think it's too much, just like, I don't enjoy enough to drink 5 cups of coffee. So last thing we're doing, we're going to lock the auto guiding. Let's name stars. You know what? I can help you name a star. I know a company. I know a guy. But the catch is when you deal with these, these companies that help you name a star, what they do is they grab it out of like the Hubble Deep Field catalog. So these are stars that like nobody has claimed the name of yet, and they will give you a certificate saying this is your star with your name on it. But then it started becoming a hassle to real observatories because people would call these astronomers, these observatories on the phone and be like, "Hey, I bought a star. Here's the name of it. I'm trying to find it on my telescope so I can see it myself." So the observatory would look into it and they figure out really quickly, like, yo, you're not going to see this star. Because essentially this is one of those stars where they point the Hubble Space Telescope at a patch of sky like this big. And it's a blank patch of sky. And they keep the shutter open for like 7 days. And after 7 days of keeping the shutter open, things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see start showing up in the viewfinder. And those are the stars that they sell you, that they let you buy, that they let you put your name on. And so, yeah, me in New York City, even if I lived in the country, I wouldn't be able to see these stars. So that's what I'm talking about. Been a weird couple of days. Feels like nothing matters. Does he have an arc? I know a guy. Shit. That's pretty funny. I know her. It's like the guy with the arc. Yeah, Noah. He was the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? I'm kidding. I remember when I first saw that movie, I was like, what is this arc? I'm like, is it literally like the arc? Yeah, so being able to hit the repair button on this controller is like damn near impossible. Like, I'm holding it with my middle finger right now, hoping that I can get better at this, but my middle finger reflex is not really there right now. Turbo! Oh god. Let me see if I can find that controller. Because I was way better on that controller. And you know it. You were here, J.L.M. You know I was good on that controller. I found an Xbox 360 controller, which is not at all useful right now. Oh my god, I found something even cooler than a gamepad. Wow. That's funny. I found two original Xbox. I found two original Xbox controllers. I found an Xbox 360 controller. I found a laser. Yeah, this totally messes with the screen because of the chroma key. But let me see. I don't even know how this looks on the chroma key. It doesn't really look like anything on the chroma key because it's a green laser. In fact, you got to be careful about pointing these at cameras. You could literally mess up the image sensor playing with this. But I'm going to turn off my chroma key. In fact, I'll just switch to this camera. See? And what is it? It's this thing right here. It has like this thing here, like a filter. But this laser is so bright that if you point it at like the sky without the filter on it, you can see the beam from the ground. Like, you can watch the laser beam. And that's not the only thing I found. You know what else I found? Like, this is one of the things that I can never find when I want to use it. But whenever I do use it, I don't want to use it. Oh, I gotta take this apart. There's some rattling plastic. I found a... I can't even see my camera. You know what this is. This is a Nintendo 64 Rumble Pack. This is like basically the equivalent of DualShock on a Nintendo, and I have some corroded Dynex batteries in there, which is basically Best Buy's old private label. But I got some rechargeable batteries I could put in here now. But one of these days, if I want to play Star Fox, I'll put this in the controller for like 5 minutes, and then I'll take it out after I realize how dumb it is. But I swear, like, the Rumble Pack, it's not like DualShock. DualShock on the PlayStation 2 was a revolutionary feature because it really did add to the immersion, whereas using that, the Rumble Pack was just like this weird thing where it was like it would vibrate. You'd get hit by, you know, a bomb and it would go beam, 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 like it would just vibrate. And it wasn't really any fun. Okay, so that's because we got some clouds, so we're gonna... I don't know how long I've been muted, but thank you, Arkansas. So as I was saying, very suspenseful. Will we have to call 912? No, you will have to call 911. I'm in New York. I thought they used 911 in the rest of the country, unless you're in some other country. Not in England, because in England they used 999. Even I know that. But I was talking about the Rumble Pack. So was I muted when I was talking about the Rumble Pack? Hopefully not. But if I am, I'll just say briefly that whenever I use the Rumble Pack to play Star Fox, I'll have it in the controller for 5 minutes. Every time you get shot by an enemy, it'll go brrr, brrr, brrr. And like then I'll get bored with it, or I'll just be like, this is super distracting, and I'll take it out of the controller. That's usually what happens when I'm using a Rumble Pack. But I might give it a chance anyway, because I mean, it's the cutting edge of Nintendo 64. I was thinking about that. We could play Pokemon Stadium. It was a typo. Oh, the 911 was a typo. I thought you lived in, like, you know, Abu Dhabi. Maybe they used 912 in Abu Dhabi. Let's see how far I can get here. So the tricky thing is this. So I like rather hold it like this, but using the gas, maybe, you know what? Maybe I could use the repair button while using the gas. I just have to like awkwardly do that. Yeah, but then I can't really hit the... So I should be holding it like this. But I just don't like the way it feels at all. Screw it. You know what? We're not gonna repair the engines. If we break the engines, we break them. Oh, come on. Don't you say that to me. Biga Barushka. He just said something about my grandma. Yeah, that's right. I know Russian. Bashka? Why are these aliens talking Russian? Oh, I'm bumping my engines, yo. My engines are gonna need some repair. Ah, it's a sale. Come on. At least they let me keep going. I wonder how this is like on a TV. It's pretty good on a TV. I mean, better with a proper controller, but it's pretty good on a TV. I used to play this on a standard definition TV on my N64. And I played it on my N64 on a high def TV, but I don't think I'll ever play this game on an N64 again if I have it on here, you know? Because look, it was a good N64 game, but the PC version was also really good because the PC version played on like pretty much a moderately good PC. It worked, you know? So that's what mattered, was that it worked. I remember years ago, well, actually, it's a different topic. Oh! Okay, good. The engines are still good. I was going to try to read the chat, but I decided I'm going to wait. We're doing so well. Well, actually, yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh! Star Wars, Phantom of the Opera. Oh! Can I make it? Can I make it? Oh yeah, I made it. All right, how long do I have to wait for my engine to cool down? Yeah, man, these Joy-Cons, like, they're great for mobile gameplay, but they're otherwise pretty bad. In fact, okay, to be fair, I'd probably be having a better time with these Joy-Cons right now if I had them inside the holder. You heard that, man. It's a new lap record. Yeah, this is a Switch version right here, Arkansas and J.L.M. This is on a Nintendo Switch. That's why it's in widescreen. That's why sometimes the graphics look surprisingly smooth. The N64 was pretty good, and I could play that. And I got an HDMI port on my N64, but this is not one of the games that has proper widescreen. There's actually a couple of N64 games that, if you hook it up to a widescreen TV, you can finagle it to play in pretty much proper widescreen. I say pretty much because it's a bit of a hack, but it works. And it's like legit, it was like intended by the game developers to make those games like Perfect Dark, possibly GoldenEye, and what was it? The other one, Banjo-Tooie, all widescreen compatible. Babushka! Oh yeah, whore! I'm talking to the game, of course. We've got to catch up. I don't know why my watch is vibrating, but I'm not gonna look at it right now because I have to win. Oh shit! I should have taken J.L.M's advice from yesterday about that. Ah, well, it's good enough. I did like that about PC gaming. I could listen to whatever audio I liked via the audio input jack. Oh, that's very interesting. You could play anything through the audio input jack. That wasn't usually my style, but you're absolutely right. You could do that. So, like, some games would have, like, some support, like Grand Theft Auto on the PC. You could just put your music in a folder, and it would become a radio station in the game. And then I had a friend, like, who would come over and he'd rather hook it up to the audio input jack because he wanted to play stuff off his player. That's fine. And then I would open up Winamp while running other apps. So if I was playing StarCraft, you could open up Winamp and then you just have to press Alt-Tab to go in and out of the game if you needed to control the audio. But realistically, especially on an older processor, pre-Pentium or Pentium era, it would make sense to have that thing running you know, on a separate audio device, you know. And also, fun fact, a lot of CD-ROM drives used to have an audio bypass cable. So essentially, the computer would only have to tell the CD player to start playing, but none of the CPU would go into the music. Like, the CD drive is a CD player on a computer. And so it would actually, old CD drives literally had a built-in, like, it would actually go to the line input. Like, it would literally have an internal line input. It would go to the same line input sometimes. So that's kind of cool, in a way, if you're like a real nerd. Like, I don't mean that in a, oh, come on. Okay. Oh, fudge muffins. Fudge muffins. See, like, I'm not using profanity. I'm being nice. But that controller is just hell to use. Like, yo, if I find my other controller, I might come back for a late stream tonight. Because even though I got work tomorrow at like 7 a.m., I'm not sleeping well tonight. I mean, I'm drinking a freaking coffee soda right now. Like, I might give it one more try looking for this controller, but like, I'm at a loss right now. I'm at a friggin' loss. So how are you guys doing today, by the way? Hope you guys are chilling. Yeah, so I basically finished my Victory Gundam from last week, but I keep removing one of the parts in order to make some improvements to it. Next pay cycle, I'm buying like a big version of the Victory Gundam, because I want to build the big version that has what we call a core fighter. And basically the entire upper body transforms into a fighter plane along with this. Now, this is a part that I repainted a couple of times. Now, I actually do have to make add a little bit to it. And so I have a couple ways to do this, but one of the methods we would use for adding color would be to use a black Gundam marker. And so what we do is, the technique, as I remember, I think you're supposed to use cotton balls, but you can use cotton swabs. And so what I would do is, I could either try to paint between the lines, but realistically that's not going to happen. So I think what people usually do is they like get it really wet, like they just put the black ink all over like this. And I might be doing this wrong. Then while the ink is setting, they try to smear it and they hope that it gets between the lines. And that did not work for shit. Like, I got a little bit of black ink on the side. And so the alternative is, I have a Gundam pen marker here somewhere. A fine tipped Gundam marker that's supposed to like do the same thing, but better for this particular task. Actually, I have a few of these, but I bought a multi-pack because I knew that would probably be a good way to go. So here's our fine tip. It's true, you do have to, as a New Yorker, it is important to maintain a brash personality. That's why I ignore people begging for money. No, I'm kidding. That's not nice. Well, it depends. Sometimes you do have to ignore people begging for money, because it's like, you can't help every person in the world. So one caveat when it comes to like acrylic paint marker. Oh, that sucks. I made a mistake and it actually is showing on the side there. Oh. So I thought I was gonna be able to smear the paint, but it turns out that it looks like the paint, this particular marker, like leaves a permanent, like, I might have to repaint this again. How about that shit, huh? Let's try this side. So basically the way acrylic paint works, it takes time to harden the paint. So, like, I think the paint, like, it does harden given enough time. Besides, you're a New Yorker. Curse your ass off. Yeah, it's a standalone device. Yep, exactly, with the music player thing we were talking about. So, you know, why do you think your cat is neurotic? Oh, here we are. Is that a reference to something? Oh god, I'm gonna drop yellow ink. There we go, okay, good. So we're gonna paint over my messed up right now before I forget, because the paint is still drying. I did like 3 layers of paint. And what should we do on my Monday show? Should I try to have an open panel? Should I invite people on? Is anybody in the chat wanting to join that? But or should I just talk about some random shit like I've been doing? Because I'm currently reading a new book, not a new book, but another book about the doomed Franklin expedition, and that is the expedition to find the Northwest Passage, which is basically a shortcut through Arctic sea ice. And it's a riveting story of men getting stranded and their boats getting stuck in the ice, and then they had to hike like 800 miles. And there's evidence of them making some effort to hike. There's like a couple of base camps where like they had like a big base camp with the captain and the crew and everyone there. And then they had like other base camps later on that had like fewer people. So it's like at some point, you know, maybe the command structure broke apart. Maybe there was a mutiny. Maybe something else happened. But like, we know that at some point towards the tail end, cannibalism was like the only option available, and maybe they waited for people to die, but there was some cannibalism at some point. And in the movie and the book, the fictional book at least, they make it like there was a mutiny, and that the mutineer was basically the guy who's running the mutiny basically was in charge of the you know, whole, you know, eating people thing. There we go, let that paint dry. Yeah, it was a long walk, and the problem was that not only were they on the ice wouldn't be so bad, but they were dragging a sled, right? Because what they would do is they'd take one of their boats, like the lifeboat, and they'd put it on a sled. And they would drag that across the, you know, ice, hoping that if they could find some water, they could put the boat on the sea. Because even though these are smaller boats, they are designed for some serious sailing, you know, that's like, they're like lifeboats. They're designed to get them back home or whatever they got to do. And their goal would be to like find like maybe like a whaling fleet, you know, a whale fleet, because that would be like the ideal right there. You know, like those big enough ships to accommodate them. Plus, even if they have to set up camp, they can get some food and, you know, like wait for the British Navy or whatever they got to do. But like at that point, they'd be in a good position. and they could eat fish if they could find it, but depending on what part of the ice you're on, they weren't really skilled at fishing like the Eskimos were. And even the Eskimos are constantly, at the time, were constantly, the Inuit, the Eskimos and those types of people, even they were constantly bouncing between starvation and barely surviving. So it's not like they were like top like hunters. They were better at finding stuff, but it's like one of the problems with the Franklin expedition was like Ross, one of the guys that found the North Pole, he had only like 100 people on his expedition, or 20 people on his expedition, 20. And the Franklin expedition, they had like 120 people. And so they kind of like were already set up to be in a bad spot, you know, just because like now there's that many more mouths to feed if shit goes wrong. And part of the problem is they did have canned provisions that they more or less believed would be enough. Like 3 years of provisions, 7 years if you ration. But turned out the company that rushed the order through, there was like 3 companies, and 2 of the companies said they would take a month to deliver goods. And this was the biggest order of canned food in the history of the British Navy up until 1845. So then this one company's like, oh, we'll do it for half the price and we'll promise delivery, immediate delivery. And the reality was they couldn't deliver immediately, but the Admiralty went for it. And their claim was that we don't need to cook it for as long or at a high temperature. Because if they did, if they cooked it at a high temperature for the amount of time required, they would have been bankrupted. But they claimed that they had a patented process where they could add baking soda or calcium bicarbonate to the food, and that would make it cook at a higher temperature. But even doing that, they didn't have enough heat or enough time spent on the fire cooking the food. So that contributed to the food not being as well cooked. But then on the other hand, they didn't even close the cans. Their soldering, the way they sealed the cans up, wasn't done correctly on half the cans, about half the cans. So that was also a problem. So now you had what was 3 years of provisions, 7 years of rationing cut short because, you know, of this major foul up or profiteering. And profiteering in the sense that, like during World War II, they had these arms manufacturers who would build guns that would like just not work. And you'd have guys in the battlefield load the gun and go, click! Like, oh, shit, I'm dead. And these guys that went to jail over it, which is wonderful because they actually deserved it. You know, they deserved to go to jail for that shit. But yeah, so that's the Franklin expedition in a nutshell. And so they're dragging these sleds with boats on them across the ice. Then they get to an island, I think, called Beechey Island and Prince William Island. And these islands have rocks on. They either have ice or they have rocks on them. It's like just bumpy rocks, like almost like railroad ballast, like rocks this big just all over the ground. And so now you're dragging a freaking sled over fucking rocky terrain. And men who are starving, men who have scurvy, because their lemon juice doesn't last forever. Even when they had lemon juice in stock, it was no longer preventing scurvy. And the way you avoid scurvy is eating fresh vegetables and fruits, or you know, eating fresh meats even. But if you are only eating canned provisions, you're not going to stave off scurvy. And so that meant bleeding from like the hair, bleeding from the gums, teeth maybe even falling out while you're eating. That was towards the tail end of scurvy. Their gums would start turning gray. Their gums would start to smell bad because they'd be rotting from the inside. It's a disgusting situation to be in. And like, yeah. So, you know, fishing would be ideal. Seal hunting would be ideal. And like, that's what the Eskimos would do. They get some seals. They would get the occasional polar bear, but apparently they weren't finding as much polar bear as they would like to find. I was just talking about the movie Eli and cannibalism and food disasters this morning, I think. Oh, interesting. I don't know anything about that movie, but I'll look into that. No plants, no animals, no food. Does not sound like a good time. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, there was some plants. Is lichen a plant? No, I'm kidding. Lichen is not a plant. It's like almost like a type of moss. And interestingly, so when they went back in like the 70s and they went back in 1986 to like find, in fact, this is the year I was born. And that's the book I'm reading. So I'm reading a fictional book again, but I found a non-fiction book about the, you know, investigation, so to speak. And that I'm finding interesting. So they went back in 1986 and they kind of like found, what did they find? They found some bones, and the parts of the bones that were half buried into the soil remained like pretty much preserved and like with all of their details. So you can see if someone had scurvy, or you can see evidence of like whatever cannibalism or any number of things, like their health condition. Whereas the part of the bone that was exposed to the sun had like lichen growing on it, and the lichen, is it, one second. I just heard like, I'm sorry, I'll tell you what distracted me in a second. I just want to make sure it wasn't raining, because I heard like a rumbling sound. It sounded like a truck on the expressway, but it went on for like, I don't know, multiple seconds, like, and I was like a little worried that like, you know, it was like thunder right before rain. So anyway, yeah, the lichen would eat up the bones. So, but they were still able to find like significant bone fragments, and even enough to see evidence of cannibalism towards the tail end of it. But these guys kind of got pretty far, but they were already in a desperate situation when they left the ship. And maybe if they left the ship earlier, they would have been good, but that wasn't really expected. Another thing they could have done early in the voyage was had people jump from one ship to this. There was 2 boats. So if they went for broke, they got everyone onto one ship and went for broke, it might have been fine, but you know, it's just so much stuff. And unfortunately, we only have like one real log entry that was found. So we don't really have the actual logs or any of that. We just have like a letter that was left in a pile of rocks inside of a tin can. And the first letter was like, all is well. A year later, the next letter is, all is not well. The captain is dead and we're desperate. Humans cannot generate their own vitamin C. I think lichen is a fungus, maybe edible if you boiled. Yeah, that's actually kind of true. I think I heard that too. If you could get enough lichen to boil, that is. I think there's a way to make a soup. You can make a soup out of anything like that, but it's like, it was, like in the book I read, someone mentioned like they were on an earlier Arctic expedition, and that's pretty much what they did. They did something where they made some kind of stew or something like that. But yeah, you know, and like the vitamin C, like I didn't understand why the lack of vitamin C causes that issue. I think I Googled it this morning, and I had to rephrase my Google search, because when you look up why does scurvy happen, it's like, because you don't have vitamin C. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but why does a lack of vitamin C cause scurvy? And that was like my follow-up Google search that I don't remember. I'll look into it later. But let's take a look. I'm going to check if Echo Base Network is on real quick. There's no way I'm playing this game anymore. Like, there's no way, not with this controller. I could play a different game. I could play Mario. I got literally a Nintendo gamepad. This thing is so cool. Look how cool that is. It literally has the exact same design. Like the only difference is I think somewhere here it's got some modern information here, but like if you hold this up to original Nintendo gamepad, the screws are exactly lined up. The only difference is you have this locking mechanism. You have this black bar. You have the LEDs, the sync button. You have a bumper buttons. You actually have an L and R button on a Nintendo controller. So you can sort of use that for other games systems maybe, but it's not quite as complete as the Super Nintendo controller. But it's not bad. It's a damn good controller, except when I tried to link it to my phone, I was really disappointed with the performance. Potato skins have some vitamin C. Much less citrus than citrus, but some. Interesting. So I just want to see if Echo Base Network is on right now. Wouldn't it be funny if they weren't on tonight, and then I wouldn't have to feel bad about streaming while they're streaming. But I think they are on tonight. Yeah, they're on right now. So Echo Base Network is currently talking about Thrawn. And I heard Thrawn put on some weight recently. So you got Moff Rissman. You got Coach. No, you don't have Coach. Coach is off tonight. You got Nick. In fact, I think Paul was supposed to come on to the show disguised as Coach. I'm not supposed to tell that to Coach, but I think Paul is supposed to show up with his name labeled as Coach on the bottom somewhere. Maybe that's a different show, and they want to see how long it would take for Coach to notice. So I don't see Paul yet, if that's the plan. If that's still the plan, I haven't seen Paul show up yet. but that is supposedly a plan. So, you know, in case anybody wants to see that. My head is full of trivia. How to win at Pod Racer. Like, how to win at Pod Racer. Well, how do you win at Pod Racer? Well, you already told me how. That's why today's episode of today's stream is brought to you by J.L.M. Pit Droids. And so this company was kind enough to advise me on how to, you know, tell my pit droids to do my car. And they did a pretty good job. But jokes aside, yeah, that was good advice, and that helped me out yesterday. And then today, I promptly misplaced my gamepad, so now I suck at the game again. But, yo, I had a good run at the game yesterday. That was a good run. That was a great run. It really was. And so, yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking right now, where is my gamepad? Where is it? But before I conclude this stream today, I'll spend a little time on this Gundam model here. So, basically, I tried taking this stuff here and carving the runner. This is just a, you know, runner where the model is attached. And I did that because I was trying to create this piece over here. So I was literally trying to carve a piece of cylindrical plastic to form this shape, so I could replace the part that I lost on the head. But I already have another model of the same type coming in the mail, so I figured, like, I'll have enough spare parts to, like, maybe make some mistakes and experiment with the paint if I want to do painting. I wasn't going to paint it, but now I could if I want. I forgot how to open this. Yeah, so I'm actually in the middle steps here. So we have like leg parts, more leg parts. And I already built my arms. I got a foot. Put your best foot forward, as they say. And then let's see, where am I at? Well, I got some nibs over here, so we're gonna just cut off the extra nibs. The wind definitely sounds very nice outside. It's very autumn-like, but the good kind of autumn, you know? But that reminds me, do I have enough time to order my Gundam costume if I don't get paid today? Wow, I can order a costume, but it would be like too close to Halloween if I did that. Probably not gonna order a costume this Halloween. I mean, I wasn't really planning on doing anything crazy with Halloween, but I was gonna like just blow some money on a costume to look like a Earth Federation guy from Gundam. I might be able to spring it before payday, but I wasn't trying to, like, you know, put myself in that, like, position. Yeah, it got a little nippy out there. It's not that cold yet, at least over here, but it is gonna continue to get there. Like, I started wearing my coat. Last week got really warm, actually, so I was wearing too much. I would get to the bus stop, and I felt like I was wearing too much before I even got to the bus. Once I got on the bus, I felt like I was wearing too much. I accidentally kicked the girl on the bus the other day. Well, I didn't really kick her, but oh, that was a little awkward. It was a little crowded, that bus. But about that, hopefully that girl doesn't mind that I accidentally kicked her. She seemed nice about it, but I felt bad. But in other news, great, now I sound like a woman batterer. But in other news, yeah, it's still pretty nice out here. You think it might frost overnight? Maybe. Yeah, like 2 days ago, it was much warmer. It was, yeah. And I rode my bike yesterday. I was going to ride my bike today, and I decided to do some pull-ups. But then I realized I had to eat dinner. I had some red wine, and I was like, oh, well, I don't like to work out right after drinking wine. So I figured I'd stream, do some pull-ups, and then I'd come back and, you know, wind it down. Try to wind down. Yeah, I got a good co-worker at work, right? But sometimes he'll talk a lot. So what I do is, like, I started building these Gundam models on Sundays when there's no managers in, so that I can hang out by his desk and talk for an extended period of time, but I don't have to like, you know, like feel like I'm being distracted, that I'm not able to do something I want to do. You know, it's like one thing I learned is like creative writing on your downtime at work doesn't really work because you'll get interrupted by work-related things or by a coworker about unrelated things to work. So I don't do creative writing at work. But then, you know, this, like, you can do this while you can't play a Game Boy while talking to your coworker, but you can sandpaper a Gundam model while talking to your coworker, like I'm doing now. Yeah, so sweet red, like Merlot, pretty good. I like a dry red. I don't even know the difference exactly, but I was having a red one. It was I think it was the Robert Mondavi one today. That was the red one I was having today. It was Robert Mondavi. I've been maybe thinking too much. Nah, no such thing as too much thinking. Unless you drive people insane, then there's too much thinking, you know? Like, when you have that girlfriend who loses her mind over little things. No offense to women who, you know, try to keep things in check. But you know what I mean. They'll be like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? If we do this, we can't sell the house. Like, whoa, what do you mean sell the house, honey? I wasn't even thinking about that. So I just used a glass file. These are a little bit weird. Which is maybe why I'm thinking slash feeling like nothing matters. Yeah, you know, sometimes I feel that way. You know, I just dredge forward. Yeah, man, it's weird. So I bought a larger one of these, but it's the same concept as the smaller one, and I want to get different ones with different intensities of grit, but essentially it's got like, you know, like this like pattern on it. And what's cool is like, let me see if I'm even in focus right now. See how my fingernail looks shiny? I was buying an umbrella at a tourist shop some months ago, and I bought a glass file that had a rougher texture, more like for nailing, you know, doing the tips of your nails. This one's more like for plastics, but it does give you like, if you use it right, you can polish your nail, almost like a nail buffer. Not quite doing it the way I want it to do it though. I'm trying to like polish an entire patch of nail. But it is a good way to test it out to see if it works. What would I think of next? Now it's unevenly polished, so people would think I'm trying to be queer, but failing. But they're definitely good for cutting off the burrs or the sprues or whatever you call it. Or for, you know, trimming off the sprues. And so that's sort of like what I'm doing right now is like, I'm looking for any remnant of the sprue. I mean, I know I need to get another camera arm. Oh, I think I do. I needed the. I did some modification work on my moving camera arm. This one is the rigid one. But I need to like, I found the bamboo sticks are not really a reliable rigid material. That's for sure. I could definitely say that much. Okay, so let's just get this scuffed up. I used to get blackberry Merlot magnums. Tasty, cheap, can use it for cooking. Interesting. I would think it'd be dangerous to use a blackberry for cooking because the batteries in a blackberry phone just are dangerous to put in a fire. But if you say so. No, but jokes aside, it does sound delicious. Blackberries in a Merlot, whatever thing, Magnum's. Never heard of that brand, but Magnum sounds like a gun. Unless they named the gun after the plant or something. Arbor Mist brand. Ah, yes. Arbor Mist. Because arbor means tree. And I guess mist implies that the trees are making mist. And Rossman would be mad. Rossman would be mad at what? My use of a glass vial, or the concept of using Blackberry Merlot Mag? Oh, the phone. His cat. Oh yeah, I get it. His cat. It took me a second to process that, but yes, I that's a cute name for a cat. It's pretty funny. Good thing he got out of New York, because I mean, if he kept bitching about New York and stayed here, I don't know how. Not that I hold it against him, but it's just like, at some point you got to make a decision. Unfortunately, and it's like funny, like they pushed a productive citizen out of this city because of their bullshit shenanigans. Meaning the local and state government, which is no secret to me. Okay, I can assure you that our city and state government are fucking unhinged. Okay, we got a governor who's batshit insane. This lady, what's her name, Hochul? Sounds like she's choking on a bag of dicks. This Hochul lady, I remember, like, she was telling people to go forth and be her disciples to, like, promote the vaccine or some crazy shit. And it's like, dude, you're not fucking Jesus. I'm not even religious and I'm offended. I'm not necessarily offended, I just think that she's a cunt. And that I wouldn't want to even picture anybody being a disciple to her ass. But Hochul, it's like choking on a bag of this. Yeah. Like, I might be willing to do her with 10 paper bags on her head. Glad he got the fuck out of New York. He seemed like a decent enough dude. Yeah. He went to high school at, what was it, Wagner? I think it was Wagner. Maybe it was another high school. I think it was Wagner. I went to Port Richmond High School. And last time I looked up my high school in a YouTube video, I saw a video of a kid horse playing on a girl's back in the lobby, and a gun falls out of his hip. And he goes, oh shit, picks it up off the ground, puts it back in his hip, and runs out the front door. That shit was hilarious. I mean, like, he was stupid for having a gun in New York, but all of the libs in the comments are like, oh, well, he needs a gun because he lives in the hood and it's dangerous. And it's like, oh, now you guys are in favor of Second Amendment stuff. You're not so in favor of the Second Amendment when somebody is an honest gun owner, but you get, like, someone with an illegal gun, and because they happen to be your skin color, or because you have some narrative that you want to push, now you can come up with justifications for that. I fucking wish people just be honest. Don't try to have it both ways. As for the kid, I just think it's hilarious. I hope he didn't get in trouble, but on the other hand, if he did, it's like his fault for being dumb, having a gun. But I mean, you don't know in this day and age. Sometimes, like, they'll let people get a free pass over dumb shit. And frankly, if he's smart, he would have gotten rid of that gun before going home. Like, he would have put it somewhere else. So that if the cops searched his house, he'd be like, I don't know where it is. Hide it in the fucking harbor. I'd be cool if they were photographing people inside their homes trying to catch them not wearing masks. That's batshit insane. I think you should be able to own your own tank if you want. So, as I understand it, in New York City or state, there wasn't a mask mandate for being in your own house. Like, that was, like, both unenforceable, and also the people photographing people in their own houses would actually be more likely to suffer repercussions, I think, legally if someone took them to court. In the UK, it wouldn't surprise me, because I know they always had these, like, recommendations, like, oh, you shouldn't have more than this many people at Thanksgiving dinner, and if you do, you should all wear masks regardless. And then the National Health people, NIH in England, they gave all these mandates and recommendations, but then, like, these motherfuckers, like, they tell people how to live, right? And then these motherfuckers, like, a leaked video comes out of them having a Christmas party where they're not wearing masks. It's like, I don't care if they wear masks, But since they insisted upon nagging everyone else to change their fucking lifestyle, telling people they gotta shut down their businesses and this, that, and the third, since these assholes were so pushy about it, now I give a shit that they were not wearing their fucking masks, you know? Like, that was like fucking insane. And I remember like when it would be like I remember like I saw this article and the guy, I don't know his political leanings, I can guess, but it was like his blog was called Turtle Boy Sports, and at the time he was bitching about like the Floyd thing, because in particular around the time of the Floyd thing you have all these like people showing memes, they're like working in the hospitals, they're saying stay home to protect us first line workers, you know, basically trying to shame you into like, you know, staying inside to protect them because they're like the noble hospital worker, right? And then George Floyd happens, and next thing you know, all these hospital people are showing up like, you know, like standing in solidarity. You'll see pictures of people in doctor and lab coats standing in front of the hospital with their fist up, you know, in the name of St. Floyd. And it's like, dude, didn't you guys just say like we should stay inside to protect your asses? And now you're like standing in solidarity with people who are having protests of hundreds of thousands of people. And it's like, I don't mind that they protest, even if I think they're protesting for the wrong, based on incorrect information, but how is it you're gonna tell me I can't go and protest, but then these people protesting is entirely okay? And I remember one of my lefty friends on Facebook at the time, not that I call him a friend per se, his counter argument to that point on my end was like, oh, but the liberals, they wear masks. He didn't say liberals, but basically his implication was, oh, since they're BLM protesters, they're liberal and they all wear their masks like good little citizens. So that's why it was okay. But it's like, I seen conservative people wearing masks, but we don't tell those conservative people it's okay to be outside. And of course, they always show you the picture of the white trash lady standing in front of the nurse in the car, you know, in the car, like you have a white trash looking lady holding a sign or being like, ah, and you see the nurse and they're like, and it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's just like a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I suspect that picture they chose that picture because it looked more damning. But anyway, yeah, and then they do the fucking TikTok dance. I watched the video. Dude had a rifle and a pistol, not hurting anyone. Gone fishing. They arrested him, took his stuff and boomsticks. The thing is not bothering anyone. Wow, what the fuck did he do that like they gave a shit? You know what I mean? Like, he's hunting. Oh, he had a rifle and pistol, not hurt. Okay, he's just going fishing. Okay, I don't even know. Like, again, maybe I don't know if the guy had no license or not, or if someone accused the guy, they said, oh, he's threatening me because he was in the video. Yeah, people make up like weird shit sometimes, you know, just to like, you know, float their bullshit. In Florida, and yeah, Florida's like a 2A state, I thought, you know. Sure, they were dancing on TikTok. Well, one, in my opinion, flew over near your house. Oh, Bell UH-1. Yeah, I don't think it was a UH-1. You mean like the utility helicopter? Wait, what is the Huey? Is that a UH-1? I think that is UH-1. But we do get all kinds of helicopters flying over, and a lot of times when I can see them, they're usually private or rented helicopters, you know, going to like a heliport in Manhattan or something like that. And when I was a kid, Trump's daughter, I think, or wife, would be like, I want to be a working person like the rest of you. And so she'd take a helicopter over our house from Jersey to Manhattan every day. But it's like, okay, you're not really a working person because, you know, you're bypassing traffic. But, hey, you know, I respect her for getting up in the morning, you know, is that. I remember when I was working retail before I got my current job, I used to be so jealous of people who had easy jobs. You know, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, people have, like, the more degrees they have, the easier their jobs get sometimes. Or, like, you can just tell it's, like, a bullshit job. Like, they're doing something, but it's, like, is it really, like, giving a lot to society to shuffle papers and stuff, you know? But, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I couldn't tell you whether or not it was a UH-1. Yep, okay, it is the Huey. I believe so. It's like the one you see in all the, you know, movies. The Vietnam movies, you know. When they play that song from the Blue Jeans commercial. The one, the Fortunate Son or some shit like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to sing it. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. At least it wasn't a Bell 7 or Bell 37, whatever, the one from MASH. Bell 47, was it? That thing with the weird plexiglass on it. Kind of a cool helicopter. Seems like a fun helicopter to cruise in. Or like a cool helicopter if you like owned a boat and you wanted to have a ability to land your own helicopter on a boat. Of course, in the movie The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, I remember like that helicopter crashed bad. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to go and fly in a helicopter at the Wildwood Boardwalk, but it would have cost so many tickets. My mom was like, yeah, no. But they actually had, like, I'm pretty sure they had something like old helicopter there at the boardwalk at Wildwood. That was kind of cool. I'm missing a part. I'm not really missing a part, but I'm kind of missing a part, I think. I feel like I'm... Well, let's see what part do I think I'm missing. B27, B28. I feel like I'm missing a part, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm missing a part. Well, it's okay. I got a second model kit coming in the mail since I lost a part and I ordered a second kit. So we got this leg here. That was B28 and I need B27. So yeah, I did cut out a B27 part. So that means I'm probably missing half a leg right now. I better get ready to shower soon. I want to get ready to be out of the shower before Snow Dub starts. Snow Dub has a show at like I think 10 or 10:05 p.m. He's the guy with one of the guys with the puppets. Oh no, better call 910 and have the police search your house for your leg. Huh. Yeah, well, you know, it's a nanny state. Maybe they'll actually do it. You know what they say though, never talk to the police. They might try to incriminate you. I love the idea of cops incriminating people just by speaking. So it's like, you know, you're just innocently like, oh, you know, it's harmless. I was going to talk to the guy, help him out, you know, get to the genuine answer. A lot of times that's fine. And there are times where it's appropriate. But once you think that you might be partly a suspect, or once you think there's any hint that you might be a suspect, that is the point where you got to not talk to them. But sometimes people don't know. But I can respect that healthy sense of paranoia. And there's like those movies where like was a Liam Neeson movie where the black dudes were like not looking to cooperate with the cop at all. But I kind of understood where they were coming from. But in this case, it was like in their interest and everyone's interest to just go along with the cop. But, you know, it depends. And then you got these stories where like there is genuine overreach, and there's these stories where someone is giving the cop hard. Like, I hate the one where the guy is kidnapping the daughter and he's like holding a knife, and it's like the cops shot the guys. Yeah, they shot the guy. He's got a fucking knife and he's getting in a car with a little girl. And it's like way more dangerous to chase a car with a little girl in it than it would be to shoot the guy before he goes. And then the girl, I was arguing with my friend of mine at the time. She was then like talking about like, oh, but what about the time that kid Dylan Roof shot up the church and they brought him to McDonald's? And I'm like, what? And it's like always these weird obscure things that they like blow out of proportion on CNN. It's like, I think I looked into it and it was like one of these things that I think it was actually legally required that they feed the prisoner, and they just happen to do it in this manner, which might seem weird, but I don't think they just willy-nilly were like, you know what, you're a fellow white guy, let's go to McDonald's with you. Like, I don't think that was the angle there. But, you know, you speak to the woke centrist type, yeah, I mean, the woke type, they'll tell you that. But I didn't even want to go down that topic there, but I'm reminded of another rabbit hole. Maybe that's what I'll make the subject for the Monday show. I just remembered a crazy fucking rabbit hole. I fucking love and hate a good rabbit hole, and that one's a wild one. I saw a video where Gen Z men are not speaking. Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. Gen Z men are not speaking on the phone with paranoia and false allegations happening. I can see it. Well, I think a lot of people are just not accustomed to talking on the phone as much because I was raised in the AOL Instant Messenger, you know, era, at least like that's when I came of age, so to speak. And, you know, even now, like, I get a call from my boss and he leaves a fucking message saying, give me a call when you get a chance. It's like, motherfucker, tell me why you're calling. Like, at least he's leaving a message, but tell me why you're calling. Because I'm laying in my bed the other day. I didn't get out of bed yet, and I'm listening to audiobooks in bed, right? And I just see my boss's name come up on the screen. I'm like, what does he want? And I'm like, do I want to answer this call? And I'm like, no, I don't want to answer this call, because if he's calling me, asking me to work overtime, I want to pretend to be scarce. You know? And, like, that was basically my rough plan. I was like, I'm going to be scarce because I don't want to fucking work overtime. Okay? And the reason I don't want to work overtime is because they're not even paying us overtime at the moment. They're like, they'll give you like, last time I worked overtime, they didn't give me overtime. They gave me comp time. They said, oh, you could use it to, you know, maybe leave work a couple of hours early sometime. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I asked one of my managers, and he's like, oh, just leave. I'm like, I want to use my comp time. So I really got to just take an entire day, a few days off from work in the coming future, just so that I could burn through my comp time, you know? Oh boy. Oh boy. Good thing I ordered a second model kit, because I think I just dropped a part. So let's see what the chat has to say. Yeah, it's a random rabbit holes, and one of those rabbit holes is similar to Afrocentrism. So Afrocentrism is the belief that, like, you know, like when you ever hear guys, they go, we was kings, and it has something to do with like the idea that Egyptians were actually African. But it's like, yes, Egypt is in Africa, but it wasn't like Nubian people were what founded Egypt. Yes, they coexisted. And anyway, one of the rabbit holes I stumbled into was the one where my coworker, there we go, I found a part I just dropped. A coworker was arguing with me saying that, okay, good, that's why this part didn't fit. I gotta cut off a nib. This coworker was arguing that African people were living in the Americas well before Columbus showed up. So when Columbus showed up, there were black people here already, and that's because black people who were enslaved in the Americas were not waiting for slave ships to pick them up, according to this dude I was talking to at work, but they were already here. And it's like, I go, but what book did you read? He's like, oh, you don't need to read a book, Google it. I'm like, all right, that's increasing my confidence already in your narrative, but all right, I'll Google it. And he's like, yeah, it was a journal written by Columbus's brother. Like, all right, it gives me a lot to go on, but really it's more like someone interpreted a journal written by Columbus's brother. It doesn't actually say they were black people. It just says that, yeah, they were dark-skinned natives, which, yes, we are aware of that. They were dark-skinned natives. That's a thing. The red man is kind of darker skinned than a white man. We know that. That's not a surprise to me, right? So that was part of it. But anyway, I found some videos on the subject, and a lot of people are like just dead serious about that subject. Like they really believe it and argue it. And I'm just like, this is not really the most, academic thing ever. Now, granted, we just went through the pandemic where academics were fucking pushing bullshit. So I can empathize a little bit with people who don't believe in the mainstream. So instead, I turned the damn thing on. I got 2 calls on Wednesday while I was at a doctor's appointment. Kind of wanted to throw the smartphone at a wall. So instead, I turned the damn thing off. Yeah, that works. Sometimes I put it in silent mode. Sometimes I just ignore it while it's ringing. So when the phone starts ringing on an Android, you don't have to hit ignore, because you don't want the person on the other end. Oh, I found the missing piece. No, that's not the missing piece. So I'm missing another piece, but that's okay. So you don't have to actually hit ignore, but what you do is you hit the volume button. So if you have an incoming call and you press the volume button on your phone, it stops ringing. And then once that happens, you can just let it be, just let it keep ringing, because then the person on the other end, they're gonna keep hearing the phone ring. They're not gonna realize that you hit ignore. And that's perfect for me. So you're basically right. You said, I forget the first Columbus expedition where it landed. Florida, Caribbean island. I don't even know if we know for sure, but it's basically in that neighborhood. I think it was either Hispaniola, which is like Cuba, and where Puerto Rico is. Because I remember I was told it was Florida, then it was revised to one of those islands, but same shit, close enough. It's in the neighborhood. Because once you have a beachhead on one of the islands, you're basically home free. You know what I mean? You're in the land. Once you have a beachhead on the island, you have what you need in order to go to the next island, to go to the big continent, So that's how I see it. That's why I think it's significant. Oh wow. So I'm not going to do this today. I think I'm going to save this for a Monday show. But I have a Pentium 2 right here. It's about the size of an N64 cartridge. But the CPU is actually inside this cartridge. It's actually a chip in the middle. And then there's memory chips here and here for the L2 cache. And then this holographic sticker is just showing what the Pentium would look like if you were to look at it under like a magnifying glass with the lid removed. But obviously it's, more of a style than anything. Warm weather. Imagine the people were scantily dressed and darker than your average Spaniard. Yeah, I would imagine. And they were. Like you said. They were, the people who were scantily dressed in a warm climate were darker skinned than your average Spaniard of that era. As well as whatever cadre of Italians, British, or otherwise prisoners or non-prisoners who were on that ship. Oh, good, I found a memory card. Alright, I'll have to look for the missing part later. I'm gonna clear my desk out after I stream. I do have a sharpening stone under my desk, but I don't want to get it right now. So we're gonna just put my fake Leatherman tool over there for now. But basically I'm missing the other side of this. So we have one here. I need to get the other side of this guy here. And maybe what I'll do real quick is I'll finish building this part here, because this part definitely needs to be assembled. So according to the directions here, Gotta put a couple of parts together before I go. I should probably hoist me ass and wash some dishes or something. In other news, the cat has calmed her tits. I don't care. I don't care if that's cussing either. And I think tits is a clinical term, right? Or it's like an engineer. Tit is an engineering term. So it's like sort of like I remember on 2.5 Men, this chiropractor was talking about back pain and referring to the breast on a woman as a structural load. And the lady was all offended, like, "You're referring to my breast as a structural load." He's like, "Well, yeah, but it's a strictly engineering term." Of course, John Cryer, he knows how to really dig himself into a hole. I love when he talks in that show. He really digs himself into holes, and it's funny. Yeah, this is addicting. I'm trying to finish like one whole part of the leg before I go, but I should probably just like not. So I'll give the chat a quick read while I'm doing this final step here. So as I say here. Oh yeah, so yeah, no, but if you gotta head out, man, like the sooner you head out, the more likely I am to head out. I wouldn't wait on me to head out because I'm gonna keep dragging my heels here, even though I really do want to get myself going too. D cup definitely a structural load. Also a decent pillow. Yeah, I concur. Hey, what up, Lady Mist? Oh man, we're having dude talk here, and Lady Mist comes out. Yeah, I'm leaving momentarily, but it's definitely good to see you, Lady Mist. Definitely angling to do a Monday show once again because we keep it going. You know, we did the Monday show before. We did it 3 weeks in a row, so I think we're on like week 3 or week 4 if we do the Monday show again. That emoji. I'm getting the eye right now. Yeah, I'm just using a glass file right now to just get these tiny components, clean the sprues or the burrs off real quick. Try to get an entire leg. I don't know how far you've been into this. So we did it pod racer like, I don't know, like half hour, 40 minutes. Wow. Have I been here for hours? It doesn't say. Well, when I end my stream, I'll know how long it's been running. Okay, it's been like 2 hours. Okay. That's fun. That's cool. It's cool. Glad I could put on a show with the gaming. Saved me from getting distracted in the game. You saw how hard I was having a hard time with that gamepad right there. Like, I really need to find my Switch controller because I mean, look, if I got nothing else to do on the Monday show, I'll play Pod Racer. But that's if I can find the Pro controller because it's much easier that way. It's much I'm just better at driving the car in the game that way. Okay, so I see how this works. So basically, this gets attached to this at some point, like this. So like you got this square interlocking piece going in, or something like that. But I have to put a shell on the outside of this leg, and I have those parts. But I want to find the missing half piece for the opposing leg. So I'm gonna put these down on the side here, and look for them after, making my sandwich for work tomorrow. Little basic things like that. Getting ready for work tomorrow. And when I get back to my desk, I'm gonna do a little modeling. Then I'm gonna put this stuff in my bag so I can bring this stuff to work tomorrow, because I want to bring this to work tomorrow. I do. Because I know it's gonna be a quiet day at work, and I know that if I have something to work on with my hands, I won't feel like I'm being suffocated if my coworker talks too much. I mean, that's okay. In a way, it's not bad. I have a coworker who talks a lot. I mean, at least you have a friend who's willing to talk to you at work, right? So that's good, But see, like, I got a PS5 controller. I found a PS4 controller while looking for the Nintendo controller, but that doesn't really help me in this case. You get the idea. But, let's do a little cleanup. So how's everyone else doing here, In fairness, we did talk about engineering stuff while doing Dude Talk, so I'll grant that, and I appreciate that feedback, Lady Miss. Oh yeah, StarCraft. I sucked at that game. I sucked at multiplayer StarCraft. Well, at least I found my what do you call it? My scoring tool. That might come in handy. I'm gonna bring these mini files. These big files are really good, but I don't want to lose them or break them at work, so I keep them at home. Usually. And yeah, I got something for the Monday show. I got a Pentium 2 laying around here, and hopefully I remember that I want to show that to people on the Monday show. In the meantime, I got part of an arm. I don't know why. I don't know why I have part of a Gundam arm. I'm just gonna put that stuff on the side for now. I'll figure it out later. Got a lot of organization to do here. That's why I'm just doing a quick cleanup right now, so I can put things in a place that makes sense, so that I don't have the same trouble finding them like I did looking for that Nintendo game pad. You know what's scary about my streaming settings right now? I can accidentally hit start streaming and it would actually go. I really I once had an accident that was streaming when I was half awake, and I was streaming for like an hour without knowing it. That was awkward. But luckily, everyone who tuned into that one was really cool about the whole incident. But and also I wasn't in my underwear standing up, so that was good too, But anyway, like that can happen with my current OBS settings. I can hit start streaming and not even know it, and so. I want to find like a long-term solution to prevent an oopsie, but that's a different topic. So yeah, yesterday I was cutting off the red piece, a tiny little red piece, and it flew off of this here, and I have no idea where it is, and I'm never gonna find it. So I ordered a second Gundam model of the same type. It's only $12 with shipping, figuring that I could practice experimenting with different painting techniques, so you win some that way. Don't forget, Snow Dub is coming on at 10 o'clock. In case that interests anybody. There we go. I'm putting this in the box like this so I can pack it up neatly. And so I can find things easily. You know what? I'm gonna cut this off. See, what I like to do is I like to cut off the extra sprues when I'm done, you know, going through parts so that I can pack the box more conveniently. I can put other things in the same box. So that's what I'm doing here. See how like I cut off the excess and now I can fit more stuff inside the same box simply by, you know, trying to stack it like that, you know. See, look at that. We got a nice little corner for my glue right there. So that's sort of the logic I'm using there. And oh, good. I got this for that Monday show. All right. I'm as much putting this stuff away so it's available for work tomorrow as much as I am to see if I can find the part I misplaced. But yeah, so don't forget Echo Base Network is on right now in case for people who are more interested in Star Wars than puppets. But there's something for everybody on YouTube right now, so keep that in mind. And I believe Pop Culture Mechanic will be streaming tomorrow. The only problem I have with Pop Culture Mechanic, it's not that he's a nice guy, because he's a great guy. He's a gentleman, really. I love his Tuesday show. He calls it, I think, what does he call his Tuesday show? It's got like a good name. It's Trades Talk. So that's a pretty good show he does on Tuesday. My only issue with my friend Pop Culture Mechanic's content is that he usually runs his show during my morning 15-minute break nap, which I secretly extend. But I shouldn't mention that on stream in case the city of New York is listening. But beyond that, even if that wasn't an issue, because it's not, the real issue would be that my lunch break nap runs when Pacific 414 stream is on. So that's another show that like I'll sleep through literally because it's my lunch break nap. But anyway, I'm not trying to ramble on. This is not a slice of life blog, but hey, you know, if it entertains, it entertains. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank you, you know, J.L.M, the person who assisted me in solving my pod racer issues. And of course, before, we also had the legendary Tron dropping by. Subscribe to him if you're not already subscribed to Tron. And I'm sure I'm missing somebody other than Lady Mist. Oh yeah, Orville Nation and Arkansas dropped by as well, which Arkansas is a friend of Tron. Oh, and we had Brandon Looney Tunes fan 2000. He presently has 2267 subs. 2,267 subs. So you know, that's pretty cool. You know, he just keeps clearing those new milestones. So anyway, with that being said, for anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall... And did I say goodnight to Lady Mist? Well, good night. But anyway, for anyone watching on the replay, yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end...